Good evening. It is 7:01 on Sunday, the 14th of September. I am Seth Eisenberg, like it says down there. And this is the conservative corner, like it says behind me. Thanks for coming. Thanks for hanging out. I hope everybody's had a good weekend. Weather's been really nice. Like, not too cold, not too hot. Really nice. Hopefully that carries on and goes on for the next couple of weeks before it starts getting cold. Because everybody knows winter's just around the corner. Can hardly wait for that snow and ice and all that fun stuff. Shoveling. Yay. It's going to be great. And tomorrow we're back to the grind, which is always fun. Like I said, I got to start buying lotto tickets or something. This is ridiculous, getting up, going to work. Never a fun thing. But like I always say, it is what it is. And you got to do what you got to do. So, like always, we have the chat on. So if you have anything you want to say or ask me, go ahead and put it in the chat, and I will answer it. If I don't get to it, I'm not ignoring it. I'm just probably in the middle of a rant and just overlooked it. So don't take it personal. I try to answer everybody's questions when they do post them. But if I don't, again, don't take it personal. It's not bad. So, without further ado, it's been a real shitty week. I mean, real shitty. A lot of horrible stuff going on. A lot of just, and we're going to get into that. I just wanted to preface with that. That's been a really bad week. Not a good week. All right, so let's get into it. Let me get my handy dandy notes out that I should have probably got out. I always say that. I should have got out before, and I didn't because I just don't plan ahead sometimes. And it's not a bad thing. It just is. So I don't know if y'all heard about this. It's pretty important, I'd say. Polish and Allied aircraft were deployed to protect Polish airspace on Saturday because of a threat of drone strikes in neighboring Ukraine. And they actually closed an airport in Poland. Now, this is all caused by Russia. They were reacting to possible, like it said, a drone attack in the Ukraine from Russia. So they scrambled some UN stuff. Do I think that's a precursor to something bigger? No, I think it's an overreaction and a chance for them NATO to flex and try to intimidate Russia. That's all I think. I'm not an expert on Russian, Ukrainian, Polish things, but nothing's happened since then. So I'm assuming that's all it was a chance to flex and let Russia know that they're not going to allow them to continue doing what they're doing without a little pushback. I could be wrong. Maybe we'll find out something later this week. Maybe something came up and they're going to do more than just scrambled jets. Maybe they're actually going to, I don't know, shoot down drones. Who knows? But that war needs to end. It's gone on too far. We need to stop funding it. It's not our fight. It has nothing to do with us. We need to be done with it. This is starting to get ridiculous. Stop sending them money. They've never done anything for us. Why are we doing anything for them? And what's really funny is first the Democrats hated the Ukraine. Now they love the Ukraine. I mean, they can't make up their own minds who they hate and who they don't hate. It like changes like the tide. It's all the time. It's like the weather. Could be nice this morning, and then this afternoon it's going to be different, just like the Democrats. Who they like now is going to change before the sun rises tomorrow. It's like dealing with a schizophrenic meth head. You just never know what the hell you're going to get from them. But it's Democrats. What do you expect? I mean, they're crazy as hell anyway. And they've been showing, we'll get into that in a minute, but they've been showing how crazy they are. This past week was also the anniversary, and it's not like a good anniversary, so I don't want people thinking that, of September 11th. I know you all remember that. Let me put that up here. I mean, how could you not remember that? I remember exactly where I was when that happened. I was at home. I was sick. I had called out for work, and my mother called me in tears and said that we were under attack and they were killing people in New York. Turn on the news. So I turned on the news, and just like everybody else, I watched as the towers fell. And 2,600 Americans, I think 2,600, 2,700 Americans died because we didn't do anything to help them, I think. And by that I mean we start wars and didn't finish it. We should have just bombed the shit out of the Middle East and been done with that. All of them. All of them. The only people over there we can trust is probably Israel. Other than that, none of those people like us. And we need to stop thinking that they do, because they don't. They don't like us. They never have. Every once in a while, they might go, ooh, wow, we like the Americans. They're nice. Then that changes, like the Democrats. It changes throughout the day. So at 8:29 a.m., I'm sorry, wrong notes. I have so many notes here today, it's ridiculous. Thursday marked the 24 years since September 11th, when 2,977 people were killed in a terrorist attack on New York's World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and a plane that crashed in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. I'm sure y'all remember that too. That was horrible. President Trump attended the ceremony at the Pentagon, noting that an entire generation of Americans have come of age in a totally different world, but they are all carrying on the legacy of those who died, which is true. It was, I mean, like I said, everybody remembers where they were. In New York, families of September 11th victims participated in the annual reading of the names at Ground Zero, where the World Trade Center towers collapsed. More than 2,700 of those killed on September 11th died in that attack. I mean, let's not forget the firefighters, the police officers, and everyday people who were trying to help also died in that. And of course, you've got, and again, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to preface this probably a couple times during today's podcast. I'm going to say things and they might upset you. I don't care. If you're one of the people I upset, you probably shouldn't be watching me anyway. I don't play these bullshit conspiracy theories. Oh, the government did 9/11. I don't want to hear it. I don't care. I don't believe it. Some conspiracy theories I'm on board with, or not on board with, but I can kind of understand them and get behind them. I don't think the government was behind 9/11. People died. That's all that I care about. People died. If you have to get into deeper detail, like, oh, the government did this and they were involved with this and the Israelis did, I don't want to hear it. I don't. That's nothing I'm interested in hearing. I feel sorry for the 2,700 people that died in the collapse. I feel sorry for their families. I feel sorry for the children. I feel sorry for them, and I don't need to hear any of the dramatic BS that some people might spew out, because it makes them feel important, because they act like they have some secret knowledge that nobody else has, and they want to spew it out on everybody and then look down on them when they don't believe them. Look down on me all you want. At the end of the day, 2,700 of my fellow countrymen died. That's what I'm concerned about. That's what bothers me, not the other BS that comes along with horrible tragedies like that. That in itself is enough for me. I don't need to hear anything else. And I'm sure most of you feel that same way. There's always people that are going to throw out conspiracies, because for some people, they don't believe there's evil in this world. They don't think evil is a thing. They've got to find someone or something to blame to make it more palatable for them, because it's easier to believe that the government or shadow organizations or things like that are easier to believe and more understandable they can get their heads around rather than just evil. That people are evil. Some people are evil and they do evil things. That scares them because they can't put their hands on it. They can't put their fingers on that. But the government they can touch and they can see. Most conspiracy theories I think are born out of fear. From what I just said, it's easier to believe that than it is that some people are born evil. That's hard for some people to understand. Some people don't believe in evil. I'm just telling you. That's my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to agree with anything I say. It's not why I'm here. I'm not here to change your mind or make you feel stupid or think I'm judging you. I'm not. I'm here to share my opinions, and I'm here to vent so I don't have a heart attack or a stroke during the week. This is very, like I've said before, this is very medicinal for me. I can vent and get it out. That's all I do. I'm not here to judge anybody. And if you think I'm judging you, I'm not. Well, you just talked about conspiracy theories, and I'm not judging you. You're entitled to believe what you want to believe. Really, you are. I don't subscribe to it, but feel free to. I'm not holding that against you. And if you really think that it's true, get a hold of me. Let's talk. Maybe you'll convince me. I don't know. I mean, I don't think you'll convince me, but maybe I'll understand your point of view better than I do now. So yeah, if you think it's something you want to talk about, let me know. It's just, there's enough crap in this world. We don't have to start inventing things or inventing people that did things. It's bad enough as is. Worlds are dramatic enough. We don't need to add it. It's just horrible. And I don't know, also this week, August 22nd, I'm going to mess her name up and I feel bad. Irina Zarutska. I know you've seen it. I'm not going to show the video. The young lady, the Ukrainian lady who was on the subway, I think in Charlottesville, and she was attacked and killed by a subhuman piece of trash that has been arrested 14 times before. And was let go by liberal judges who believe everybody should get a second chance, regardless of how many times they've been arrested. Stabbed her in the neck, and she bled out and died there while people watched and did nothing to help her. And you know what? I can almost understand. The guy had a knife. You don't want to get hurt, so you don't mess with him. But then you render aid to the victim, and nobody did that. She died scared shitless, bleeding out on the floor of a metro, while people did absolutely nothing. That's disgusting. I don't know how another human being can sit there, watch that happen, and then render no aid to the victim and just sit there like it's okay, but have their phones out, recording stuff. Get that out, record, but not to help another human being who's obviously in distress and dying. I think those people are POSs too. I don't know how they look at themselves in the mirror since that day and go, I'm a good person. I'm a good person and I deserve good things. I don't know how they do that. And I hope they don't, because you're not a good person. You're not. You are one step above a cockroach. To just sit there and watch that happen. And then, which again is understandable, but to sit there and watch her die and not even try to help her, you're a cockroach. You're a toilet bug. You're disgusting. And I hope that haunts you for the rest of your life. I really do. There's no excuse. Not even to, are you okay? Or let me call 911 or anything. You're a toilet bug. And I don't respect you. And I'm sure that doesn't mean anything to them because they don't respect themselves. But I don't respect you. I think what you did is horrible. And I hope the people who sat there and watched it, they're remembered just as much as the man who did it. So they can be ostracized and made to feel bad every time someone sees them. Because I don't know how you sat there or walked away from that. Because there was blood everywhere. And just to walk away like, oh, whatever. I don't know how you live with yourself. I couldn't. Even if you couldn't have helped her, you could have held her hand and let her know she wasn't alone. That she's not going to die alone. You were there with her. At the very least, you could have done that. We live in a society now where it's more important to go viral than it is just to be a good human being. where it's more important to get thumbs up and likes than it is to do the right thing. It's disgusting. I really wish they would shut all social media down for like a year. Nobody could access it for like a year and let things get back to normal, because this is not real. This is all BS. Social media is bullshit. It's not real life. It's not real people talking about real things. Half the stuff on social media now is AI. The other half is just made up shit by people who have no life. And they try to go viral. And they don't care what they do or how they lie or who they hurt to get viral. They just want to do it because it's that important. I got to get viral. I got to get those likes. Like I said, I get 5 or 10 people that watch this show, and that's fine for me. I don't need millions of people. Just 5 or 10. Hell, I could do for just one. I do this for me. And if some of you like what I say, that's great. Watch, tune in. Let your friends tune in. If nobody wants to watch me, I will do this to myself every Sunday at 7 o'clock. I don't need an audience. It's not that important to me. It's not. I'd rather be a decent human being than to be an internet sensation. I don't know what's going on with people nowadays, but yeah, her name is Irina Zarutsky. She was born May 22nd of 2002, and she passed away, or no, she didn't pass away. She was murdered by an animal August 22nd, 2005. She was a kid, for God's sake. She was a kid. I got shoes older than her. And she wasn't doing, it's not like she was causing an issue. She was sitting there with her headphones in, minding her own business. I don't know if you've seen the video, but she wasn't addressing anyone. And then the animal behind her just pulls out a knife, stands up and starts to stab her. And nobody says anything. Can you imagine that being you, and just the fear, pure fear that was running through her mind, her body. Because she knew she was dead. She knew she was dead. The minute she felt that knife going to her neck, she knew it was done. It was just a matter of time. And not one person on that metro, whatever they call it down there, could stand with her or sit next to her and hold her hand and just be there. Just be a human being and help her. Like I said, let her know she's not alone. She's not alone. But they couldn't do that. Cockroaches. Nothing but cockroaches. I don't know. Sometimes I want to sell everything I own, buy an RV, go out west, and live in the middle of nowhere with no neighbors and not have any contact with people unless I have to go to town to buy groceries once every month. Take my son and be gone. Get him out of this cesspool before it starts to infect him. I don't know. Things are just definitely different. And they get worse every month or every day, every week, every month, every year. It gets worse. I mean, we all know what else happened this week. I mean, if you didn't, you don't know what happened. I don't know what to tell you. Charlie Kirk was murdered. Murdered. He was at the University of Utah, doing what he normally did, open debates with anybody. Anybody. You agree with him, great. You didn't agree with him, great. He would talk to you, and he wouldn't scream and yell at you. He wouldn't insult you. He would debate you. And he'd done that, I guess, for years. That was his thing now. He was going there and going to college campuses and doing that. And some sick, and I'm only going to say the guy's name once, because I don't think he deserves to have his name mentioned at all, but Tyler Robinson, 22, was taken into custody Thursday night and accused, right now it's still accused, of murdering Charlie Kirk. Apparently, Mr. Robinson also has a transsexual partner that he lives with, and wrote several statements on the casings of the bullets, like, die fascist and ciao Bella, some song that is a supposedly anti-fascist song. He put some code in from a game. Just things insane people do on the left. Um, and it's sad. I didn't agree with everything Mr. Kirk said. I just didn't. I don't agree with anybody. I don't agree with everything anybody says. So that's nothing like I'm not slighting him or insulting him or saying he was wrong. There's just some things I didn't agree with, and I'm not getting into that because at this point it doesn't matter. What I did respect, I respected the hell out of him for what I just talked about. He would go to campuses and open debate. He didn't. He invited everyone, and that's pretty respectable, especially nowadays. Nobody wants to talk. They want to scream and yell and accuse and point fingers, and it's unheard of these days to try to have a civil conversation, and that's what he did, and you got to respect that, especially the way he did it. It wasn't like he went to like a amphitheater or someplace like that and sold tickets and people could come in. He went to college campuses for free, and would just anybody that came up he would talk to. I think that's very admirable. I think it's more than most politicians do nowadays, to be honest with you. I mean, they like to be in sound or, echo chambers. They don't like to be challenged. He looked forward to it. And I'm sure you've seen his videos when he does it. He's very fact based. He doesn't, not a lot of feeling or like, well, I feel or I think. It was facts. And of course now, people are coming out of the woodwork and, singing his praises. People probably never even talked about the man or had anything to do with him, and now singing his praises. And that's fine. I'm not going to get into that. If that's how you want to live your life and you want to be a ghoul or a vampire and that's how you want to get your name out there, then, by all means do it. But karma's a bitch, and she doesn't forget. She has a photographic memory. So enjoy it while you got it. But yeah, and again, we're going to get into this more throughout this hour. But the response has been from both ends of this opposite of the spectrum at the extremes. There's really been no like, well, he wasn't that good of a guy, but it's been, praise or celebration. Like people celebrating that he was dead and, ha ha ha, burn in hell Nazi. And on the other side, you got people treating him like he was a god, and we need to have a national holiday, and we need to put statues of him in every college campus, things like that. Where do I fall? I fall more towards, the good end. I mean, he was a great guy, very open, very intelligent, did a lot for the Republican movement, did a lot for young Republicans. But like I said Wednesday night, I don't put anybody's life over anybody else's. The young lady that was killed in Charlotte, to me, is just as important as Mr. Kirk was. I don't think any innocent person who dies is more important than another innocent person that dies. I just don't believe that. And I'm not, again, I am not insulting him or his wife or his family. I'm not saying he's insignificant. I'm saying he's just as important as the young lady, and the young lady's just as important as him. And anybody else who dies that's innocent is just as important as him. And for some reason, and I never met Mr. Kirk, and I never spoke with him, so I'm going to assume a lot. And yes, I know what happens when you assume. You make an ass of you and me. But I'm almost willing to bet that he would probably agree that, no, you don't need to make me statues. No, you don't need to give me a federal holiday. No, you don't have to do all these things for me. I don't think he would expect it or want that. And that's another reason I respect the man. I don't think he did it for all that. I don't think he did it to be placed on a pedestal above everybody else and worshipped. I don't think that's what his intention was. I mean, the man was a Christian. He was very devout. So I'm almost 100% sure that's not what he would have wanted at all. Would not want to have been placed above anyone else. And again, that's respectful. But there are people out there, like I said, and on the good end of like the hero worship people, I can understand that. That's not hurtful. It's not derogatory. It's not nasty. They're not attacking him or his family. So I can get behind that. It's the other side. It's the left. just disgusting human beings. I have heard a lot of people I don't agree with. I don't like their politics. I don't like whatever. I don't like about them. I have never once in my life wished death for someone I don't agree with. Never. I've never wished anything bad to happen to people. And if something does bad happen to them, I don't celebrate it. I don't mock them. I don't make fun of their family. I don't make fun of the situation. I just don't say anything. But the left can't keep their pie holes shut. They feel it necessary to insult and belittle and attack because they are weak-minded individuals. I don't understand. I mean, I'm almost willing to bet most of the people that are celebrating Mr. Kirk's death probably only know about him through memes or word of mouth and have never, ever watched one of his videos on YouTube or Turning Point, wherever they put him up. And they're basing their opinion on feelings and hearsay. Like I've seen a lot of things on here, but I'm saying, well, empathy, I don't believe in empathy. That's like one line out of an entire 3 paragraphs where he explains what he means. He doesn't like empathy. He prefers sympathy. Because you really can't tell how somebody feels. You can't empathize with somebody if you don't know them or know their story, but you can sympathize with them. You can feel bad for them. And that's what he said, but they're not putting up the whole thing because they can't. Because if they do that, then it makes them look stupid. And trust me, these libs don't need help looking stupid. They're doing a pretty damn good job of their own. It's just disgusting to see people do that. I mean, the same people, and I have it written down here. I read it somewhere. I'm going to make sure I get it right because I don't want to. Where did I put that? The same hate that took Charlie Kirk is the same hate waving the flag of Palestine. It's the same hate that fuels violence against Israel and Jews. The people who were screaming and yelling about Mr. Kirk's stance on homosexuals and transsexuals and things like that are celebrating Palestine who execute people like that. But that's okay. It's okay for the Palestinians to do that to people, but God forbid if an American speaks up. And I really don't think it was about him being an American. I think it was more about his faith. I think they were attacking his faith more than him. Because for some reason in this country, I don't know if it's 50-50. I don't know what the stats are, but if you're a person of faith, you become a target. And I don't get that. I don't. A person's faith is their business and not yours. As long as the faith they practice doesn't harm others, why do you care? Why does it matter if he's out there talking about Jesus and God and the Bible? Why does that bother anybody? You don't have to listen. That's what I don't understand about a lot of people who are attacking him now. You don't have to listen to him. Those things at colleges weren't mandatory. You didn't have to go. His videos online, you don't have to watch. I can't imagine purposely going somewhere or listening to something that's going to upset me just so I can get upset and yell at the person for saying things that I don't agree with that upset me. Why would you do that? I mean, other than having a mental illness, why would you put yourself in that position? I mean, that makes you the idiot. That makes you the moron, not the person talking. Like if I started talking about Jesus and you knew it and you didn't believe in Jesus, and then you jump on my podcast and then you bitch and complain about it, is it really my fault? You chose to be here. You chose to listen. How am I to blame for anything? How can you hold me accountable for anything? You're here of your own free will. You can leave. I guess liberals just can't. They have to seek out things that make them miserable. They have to be involved in drama, or they create drama because they're miserable people. Let's be honest. Liberals are miserable people. They're never happy. There's always some problem with something, screaming and yelling, this is going on, that's going on. They're not happy people. And again, I never met Mr. Kirk. I don't know him. But the videos I've seen of him and the interviews I've seen with him, he seems like a very upbeat person. He didn't seem very down and depressed. And I think that also upsets liberals when they're insulting him and attacking him and he wasn't biting, wasn't getting all upset and defensive. I think that upset them even more. So he could have been out there talking about chocolate ice cream and how great it was. They'd have found fault with that. no matter what it was, I think they'd have found fault with that because he was a happy person. I don't think liberals like happy. They don't like happy. They don't like accountability. They don't like religion, unless it's Islam. Then, of course, they're all for it. They don't like people who don't like transsexuals or homosexuals. Unless you're from the Middle East, then it's okay. You can execute them. You just can't talk about that in America because that makes you a transphobe. I mean, they have these double standards. And if it weren't for double standards, liberals would have no standards at all. They really don't adhere to any one set dogma. It's whatever like I said, they're like the weather. It changes. What they like today, they're going to hate tomorrow. I just can't believe the way they're treating him and more importantly, his family. They can't hurt him now. They can't insult him. He's not here. He's passed. His family's here. I don't know why they have a problem with them. Why do you think it's okay to? And I'm only going to show this once. I apologize. It's not the video. This is the idiot trash that killed him, and I'm not going to keep it up long. He's obviously got mental problems, and again, that's not an excuse, but he's obviously a mental midget, and he took the life of a man who had the balls to speak truth. And that's really what he did. He was a truth speaker. He wasn't talking about emotion. He wasn't talking about his feelings. He wasn't talking about what he thought was right and what could be right. He was espousing his beliefs. To him, those were facts. And he was, like I said, every video I've seen, he was calm. He was approachable. I don't think he ever insulted anybody that I've seen. And I'm not saying he's a saint. Nobody's a saint. But he handled himself much better than I would have handled myself in this situation. I mean, if you've seen some of my shows, I go off and it's just me here. So yeah, he handled himself very professionally, and I thought he handled himself very well. And it's a shame that he's gone. It's a shame he was taken. I mean, he's only 31. Again, he's a kid, and I'm not being insulting. I'm 53. He's a kid. And we're going to get into more of that in a minute and what his wife had to say and all that and other things. But right now, let's get to take a break, and then we'll be back.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
They're very well thought out and well delivered. Again, so Wednesday nights at 7, you have the Pulse where everybody's together talking about everything. Then we have Damon the Hammer has his own shows and a radio show. Alexandria Levine's the White House correspondent again, and she has her own 2 shows during the week. They're very well thought out, well prepared shows, much better than my show. They're very calm, but passionate about what they do, but they're very calm, and they're worth watching. I mean, good shows. And then I'm every Sunday at 7 to 8:30, and I talk about important. They talk about important. You know what I mean. I talk about stuff that is important to me, and hopefully it's important to you. Once again, if you have anything you want to add or question, you can join in on the chat, or you can just sit here and listen to me talk. I mean, I'm sure that's got to get boring after a while. But we're talking about Charlie Kirk and his murder, and the reaction people are having to it on Facebook and anywhere on social media, and even in real life, people are showing their ass and really acting like low-class toilet bugs. I mean, that's the best thing I could call them. I mean, some of the things I've read online are horrible, horrible. And they are saying this with glee, like smiling when they say, "Oh, I'm glad he's dead." And I just don't get people. And I'm stopped trying to figure them out. I don't know if you heard about this too. There's a big rally in London, organized by Tommy. I can't remember his name, and he's another good guy. I mean, he's not a bad person. Tommy Robinson he's pro London, so they had a big rally. Of course, they're calling it a far right rally. Anytime you want to defend your country or stand up for what's right, you're considered far right. You're not just your average everyday person. They got to label you because that's what liberals do. They got to label things. It makes them more comfortable if they can put people in boxes and label you and say, well, you're this and this. But they also mourned. They had a moment of silence, I believe, for Charlie Kirk. And I think there was the whole thing is it's weird because you read one article, there was like 100,000 to 150,000. You read another article, it was like close to 1 million. So I don't know. There was a lot of people there. More than 5, less than 100 million. So, well, that's the best I can give you. But they mourned Charlie Kirk. I mean, like I said, the guy he reached a lot of people because of, I would say, his demeanor and his steadfastness in his beliefs. He didn't change his beliefs based on the crowd like a politician would do. What he believes is what he believed. And if you asked him, he told you. And I think that resonates with a lot of people, especially nowadays. You got politicians that just lie, just flat out lie to you. Schumer, AOC, the squad. I mean, you got people that just flat out lie to you and don't like this country. Just honestly will tell you they don't like this country. He loved the country. He was a big Trump supporter. And he was, like I said, a devout Christian. And that upsets liberals. Those things upset liberals. And I don't, like I said, I don't know why. Why would somebody's religion upset you? He wasn't trying to push it on people because those things he held were voluntary. You didn't need to go. You didn't have to be there. So if you showed up and he was saying things you didn't like, you could leave. Didn't have to listen to it. So if you chose to stay, you're an idiot. Because if you're staying just so you get worked up and angry and then get up on the microphone he had and insult them, whatever, you're a jackass. Go change your diapers and go back to class or whatever it is you do. But nothing he did was forced on anybody. So I've never understood why people get upset. Well, he said this about you. Well, who cares what he said? You didn't have to listen. You didn't have to be there. It wasn't a requirement for a class. You chose to be there. You chose to listen. Oh, well, be offended. And if the truth offends you, then so be it. I mean, he was, I agree with him. It's like I said, I didn't agree with everything he said, but most of what he said, I would say 95, 96% of what he said, I agreed with. I agree with his stance on marriage. I agree with his stance on abortion. I don't think abortion is used like birth control nowadays in this country. You get pregnant, oh well, go get an abortion. It's not a big deal. There's more thought given to what you're going to have for dinner than these people give to abortion. And that's disgusting. He was very devout in his beliefs as a Christian and in Jesus and in God, and I can respect that. I myself have not received the gift of faith, but I do not begrudge anybody their religion. I do not begrudge anybody their beliefs. I believe that there's someone above me. I believe there's something greater than me that I don't think it intervenes in my life. I don't think he guides me. I think he might give hints, and that's it. But I do believe there's something greater than me, and I've helped my son. He believes in God, and that's fine, and that's great. I mean, I think of it this way: if you believe in God and you follow the Bible, and you're a religious person, that's not a bad thing because there's nothing in the Bible that's bad. You follow the Ten Commandments; those are great. So if you follow the Bible, there's nothing wrong with that. I see no downside to that. And Mr. Kirk is a prime example. He was not a dangerous person. He had his beliefs. He wouldn't back off of his beliefs, and I respect that. And you asked the question, he gave it to you. He had, like I said, he had these debates. You knew what he was going to talk about. You knew where he stood on everything. None of what he said should have shocked you or them. Not you, you know what I mean? Shouldn't have shocked them, but it did. They got him all worked up and upset. I mean, it's obvious. Go on Facebook or X, and there's all these disgusting posts by these people that are celebrating his death. And that's what bothers me. That's what's the most disgusting of all that is just the ugliness that's coming out. And I feel sorry for his family. They got to put up with this. They got to listen to this and, hear all this vitriol and all this disgusting hate pouring out. If you don't like the man, you don't have to say anything. Just walk on. Save your BS and your insults for your loser friends when you sit in your mother's basement eating Hot Pockets. Then you can talk your crap about the man and say what you want to say, but nobody wants to hear it. I mean, like I said, I've hated a lot, or not hated. I've disliked a lot of people, disliked what they said. And when they died, I didn't say a word. I didn't feel the need to start insulting them and attacking their families. I don't. And again, maybe I was raised different than these liberals. I don't know. I just think that's horrible. And they should be ashamed of themselves. But they don't have shame. They don't have humility. They don't subscribe to any of that. I don't know if you saw this. She was on TV. This is his wife. Let me move this over to her. She deserves a big screen. Erica Kirk, Miss Kirk. She gave an emotional tribute to her husband and declared that his mission will not end at Turning Point USA's headquarters Friday. It was her first public statement since her husband's murder on Wednesday at Utah Valley University. To everyone listening tonight across America, the movement my husband built will not die. It won't. I refuse to let that happen. No one will ever forget my husband's name, and I will make sure of it. I will become stronger, bolder, louder, and greater than ever. My husband's mission will not end, not even for a moment. My husband's voice will remain, and it will ring out louder and more clearly than ever, and his wisdom will endure. Even in her grief, she wasn't insulting. She wasn't nasty. She wasn't attacking people. She had every right to. Every right to be angry about what happened, but she didn't. That's called humility. It's called grace. And the left needs to take a lesson from that. She could have been bitter and been angry and talked about how she wanted the man who murdered her husband, to suffer. And maybe she does. And again, she has every right to say that, but she's not in public spewing that BS. That's the left. That's their job, to be disgusting and horrible. And they're doing a real good job of it. It's like they're working overtime on it. When they caught him, we got him. Utah Governor Spencer Cox told reporters at a briefing on Friday, expressing relief after an intense manhunt by local and federal law enforcement that followed Mr. Kirk's murder on Wednesday. And he's not a sniper. I don't want y'all keep. I'm going to get to that in the next segment. He's not a sniper. So stop with that BS too. Just stop. He was identified. I told you his name already. About 33 hours after the shooting, FBI Director Kash Patel told reporters the agency had received more than 11,000 tips as of Friday morning, and most since the 2013 Boston Marathon bombing, he said. The suspect was captured after a relative and family friend alerted the local sheriff's office that he confessed to them or implied that he had committed the murder, the governor said. They want to thank the family members of the murderer who did the right thing in this case and were able to bring him in without issue. From what I read, the suspect had told his father he wanted to kill himself. because he didn't want to be taken or go to jail. Some BS Hollywood crap. And the father got a youth pastor to talk to the murderer, and the murderer was convinced to turn himself in, and the father turned him in. I've also read that the father was a member of the sheriff's department or in some way affiliated with law enforcement. Not that any of that matters. The only person on that side of the story that I feel sorry for is the father. I can't imagine being a father myself and a son, finding out my son has just murdered somebody, and I have to turn him in. I cannot imagine how horrible a feeling that is for that father. Because the father feels like he's failed him. He must have done something wrong to put his son in this position. He's taken the heat. He's taken the blame for that. Any father would. Any good father would. There's nobody wins in this situation. Really, when you get down to it, nobody wins. Everybody has lost something. Some have lost more than others, and for them, I feel sorry. Like Miss Kirk and her family, I feel sorry for them. That what happened is horrible. I feel sorry for the murderer's father. From what I understand, his family was good people. They weren't abusive. They weren't drug addicts. They weren't drinkers. They weren't anything like that. Their son went to college, apparently got radicalized, indoctrinated into hate. And this is what happens when you send your children to college. And yeah, I said it. If that upsets people, I don't care. That's my opinion. Nothing good has come out of college lately, and nothing good will, while the radicals and the leftists are in charge of the education. Trade school. Send your kid to trade school. You never hear about that. Trade school. And that's another story. But I imagine that father's going through some hell too. And I hope nobody gives that family a hard time. I hope they don't send them death threats and insult them like they're doing to Miss Kirk and her family. It's not warranted on either side. That family didn't do anything wrong. They didn't pull the trigger. They didn't put their son up to this. He chose to do this. He and he alone chose to do this. His father wasn't involved. His mother wasn't involved. Any siblings he has, they weren't involved. So I hope they're left alone because they're going to have enough to deal with after all this starts coming out in his trials. The real victims are the Kirks. They need all our sympathy and help and prayers. It's really that simple. I don't know the Kirks. I've never met him, but she seems like a very strong woman. I'm sure she's going to endure. I'm sure it's going to be tough, especially for the kids, but I have a feeling they're going to do fine. I don't think she's going to fold. Like she said, the movement her husband built will not die. And I believe her. I don't think those are just words. And it's good to hear that. I'm glad she's going to carry that mantle. That's awesome. Again, not knowing him, I'm sure that's what he would have wanted to happen. I'm sure he's happy that's happening. But yeah, it's a very sad situation all the way around. And I don't know if you ever watched the podcast before, but I go off on tangents. I start here, then go there. And I feel a tangent coming on. A lot of people, when this first started coming out, a lot of morons, and that's what I'll call them, morons. The government did this. It was Israel that did this. It was a professional hit. It was a sniper. You people are idiots. I hope you realize that now. You're an idiot. I understand it's very important to go viral, like I said before, so people get online and start spewing this bullshit, hoping they get thousands and thousands of likes and they become, important, because in their real lives, they're not important. He wasn't a sniper. You're an idiot if you thought that. Wasn't a professional hit. You're a bigger idiot if you thought that. Israel was not involved, and it wasn't a government thing. Those people are sick, lonely, demented individuals that come up with that stuff. They sit in their basement or in their shack. They have no jobs, no life, and these things flood into their head. Because like I said earlier, it's easier to believe that than it is that there's evil on this earth, that some people are just evil. I don't know why it's hard to believe that their evil exists. And sometimes evil wins. It's not always, like Freud said, sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. The guy was a sick fuck that killed Mr. Kirk. Why is that so hard to believe? Why does it have to be something more than that for some people? Why does it have to be some all-encompassing grand conspiracy? Why can't it just be that the man was evil? Sick and evil. And he killed somebody. Why does it have to be more than that? And that's what infuriates me. All these idiots that come out, he was a sniper. He wasn't a goddamn sniper. We know that now. But none of these people have come out and apologized. And the people that showed the video over and over and over and over again, you are sick human beings. You are disgusting. You're worse than the toilet bug to show that over and over and over and over again. Why do you need to do that? They showed it once, and that's all you need to know. Seeing it once is all you need to see it. You don't need to repeat it. Show it over and over and over and over and over. Because I know what you're doing. You're trying to get likes. You're trying to get people to watch you. You're sick. You are a sick human being. If you felt the need to replay that video, now they have people dissecting the video. Like if you watch closely, the security guards were picking their nose and signaling somebody. Shut up. Shut up. Anybody who watches your videos or buys into your videos is just as stupid as you are. Just as ignorant and fucking lonely as you are. And they should be just as ashamed of themselves for participating in your bullshit as you are peddling it. But I don't think they will be. Because they're getting what they want. They're getting the attention. They're getting those likes, those thumbs up. I haven't shown the video. I haven't shown still pictures. And I never will because you don't need to see it. There's no sense in giving that monster who did this any more airtime. And if you don't know what happened, read an article. I will never show that video. Ever. There's no need to see it. It's like the network I was on before. Those twisted fucks had to show the video of that woman in New York that was lit on fire. They showed the entire video of her burning to death. They showed a snuff film is what they did. They showed a snuff film. I won't do that. This network will not do that. That is disgusting. That is what leeches do. Show misery and death just for thumbs up. People like that are scum. Truly, they're scum. And they'll hide behind, well, people have a right to know. They have a right to know. They can read an article. You don't need to put that video in their face. People don't need to see that. The only people that show videos like that of people dying have never had somebody die in front of them. They don't know what it is. To them, it's just images on a screen. Anybody who's been around somebody who's died violently, or watched someone they care about die, doesn't show that. They don't need to because they know how painful it is. So if you're out there showing these videos and you're out there dissecting it, showing, well, the bullet went here, why was he doing this? You're toilet water. You are disgusting. You're the crap that forms in the corners of people's mouths when they scream and yell and haven't had enough water. You are scum. And you should be ashamed of yourself, and you should be shunned from a functioning civil society. But that's not going to happen. People will continue to watch those videos and go to those websites and watch that horrible, horrible video over and over again. People will keep saying it was a government hit. Israel was involved. It was a professional sniper because the lowest common denominator is stupidity. And there's a lot of stupid fucking people out there that are buying into that shit. The man's dead. Leave it at that. Let his family grieve. Stop showing the video. Stop making up bullshit posts so people will come look at you because you think you know something that nobody else knows. Because you, the idiot in some trailer living in the friggin' Midwest who doesn't even have a job, has some secret knowledge that the government doesn't know. You know, nobody else knows. That's how stupid it is when you say it out loud. Let the man be rest in peace. Let his family start the grieving process. Let them start picking up their lives and getting back to living. Let his wife carry on his mission. Stop with the incessant bullshit. Stop. You're not helping anybody. You're not a hero. You're not a journalist. You're a toilet bug, a leech, a vampire, a ghoul, doing whatever you can to get likes, to become viral. Stop. Stop. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Disgusting. And if that offends you, it offends you. You know what? With that, I don't care. If you think it's okay to show that man's death repeatedly and that offends you that I call you a toilet bug, guess what? I don't care because you're a toilet bug and I don't care what toilet bugs think. I mean, how would you feel if someone in your family was killed on video and morons on the video on the internet And social media was just showing it over and over and over and over again. And then some idiots dissected the video to show it frame by frame to explain how aliens were involved or how, Godzilla was in the background and he was orchestrating the whole thing. These sick people are out there. And we allow them to do this. You can report stuff like that on Facebook. It doesn't go against community standards. But God forbid you talk about COVID on Facebook, they'll boot you right off. But you can show a snuff film over and over and over again, and that's acceptable. Same thing with YouTube. Can't talk about anything medical, but you can show that video over and over again, and that's fine. You start mentioning medicine or anything, they'll cut you right off. That's how screwed up this country is right now. That the good people are being held down by the sick people who think all this stuff is acceptable. They have made sin acceptable. Sin is okay. It's okay to do that. It's not okay to point it out. It's okay to murder people you don't agree with, but don't point it out. We have a problem with that. It's okay to mutilate kids because at 5 or 6 years old, they think they're a girl, not a boy, but don't point that out. We're not going to stand for you pointing that out. Like I said, most of the stuff Mr. Kirk talked about, I agree with 100%. I'm not as eloquent as he is. I don't have the apparatus behind me to help enlighten me on these subjects as he had. But I agree with what he said. 95% of what he said, I'm on board 128%. And I'm sure they don't care about it because who am I? I'm saying I agree with him. But everything he liked or it was stood against is acceptable now. You can do that. It's acceptable. Pointing it out and calling it what it is not acceptable. And I think that's why these people target him and other people like him because they're speaking truth. And people like the truth until the truth is about them. Then it's not so cool anymore. Then they don't want to hear it. And we all know liberals have a mental illness and they can't debate. They lash out and attack. And that's what they did. And it's going to get worse. And I'm going to get into that in the next segment. It's not getting any better. I get worked up sometimes, and I have to. And on Wednesday, I got really worked up, so I owe everybody an apology for that. I probably let my emotions get the better of me, and I'm trying to check what I'm saying because my son may be watching, and your kid may be in earshot. I don't know, but I'm trying to check what I'm saying and remain as calm as I can be. And my calm is probably way above your calm. So you're not calm at all. You're still. I get it. But we need to stop allowing ourselves to be bullied. Conservatives and people of faith need to stop allowing themselves to be bullied. We need to stop turning tail and backing off when we're attacked or we're cornered or we're insulted and yelled and screamed at. We have to stop. And yes, that may not be the Christian thing to do. And if that's not the way you want to handle things, again, I'm not judging you. I am not insulting you. I am not looking down on you. How you want to handle situation is up to you. I am saying the time for trying to get along with these people has to stop, has to come to an abrupt end because they've made it very clear they don't want to get along with us. They don't want to have dialogue with us. They don't want to work with us. They don't want to talk to us, and they don't want to hear us. It's that simple.
Welcome to America's Pulse Network. This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
This is so amazing and miraculous. We've never had a president in the history of our nation doing this. And we hope to God that he continues doing this forever and ever. Thank you. God bless you, everybody. And God bless President Trump.
And God bless you.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with the America's Pulse Network. I am the White House correspondent right here in the heart of D.C. as President Trump is celebrating 250 years of America and the military.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
Again, that was Alexandra Levine. She's our White House correspondent. Again, she has two 2 shows she runs during the week, and she's also on the Pulse on Wednesdays. Smart chick, knows her stuff, has a really good show. Again, very well prepared, knows her stuff when she's talking. Same thing with Damon the Hammer, knows his stuff. I kind of wing it. Again, I'm not as polished as they are, and I'm not saying that to be bad at all. They're very good at what they do. I'll be as good as them one day, maybe. I don't know. Depends on how long I do this. I might wake up one day and go, I'm bored. I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I don't know. As long as there's 5 of you that hang out and listen to me, I'll keep doing it. That's my promise. As long as I got at least one person listening to me, I won't stop. I'll keep doing this. And you can watch me vent and scream and watch that vein right there pop out of my head when I get upset. And I got a lot to be upset about this week. It's this whole week, like I said, has just been trash. It's been trash. Got the young lady who was stabbed in the neck that nobody helped. And we got Mr. Kirk. Then we got the scum on the internet that are attacking him and his family. Glad that he's dead. Then we got the my hands disappear when I move them. We have the social media experts spewing their BS about, he was a sniper, it's a government hit, it's a professional hit. Israel was it's just been a shit show. And again, we've gotten away from where we should be. We should be helping the Kirk family deal with this. We should be helping the young lady. And I don't want to say her last name because I'm going to mess it up. And I feel bad because she does deserve to be known. And I'm gonna try to say it one more time. Give me a second. I'm looking at it, and I feel bad. Her name is Irina Zarutskia. Zarutskia, and I messed that name up, and I apologize. I just can't pronounce it, and I apologize. Those are where we should be focused on, not on these stupid conspiracy theories these people are pushing out, not on, trying to go viral with the video showing over and over again, or breaking down the shooting and trying to explain it. That's not important anymore. It's done. The guy's been caught. He's going to be tried. Time to let that go and help the family and help the families. That's what we should be focusing on. And once we get through that, and it's going to be a while, a lot of people are going to be hurting for a while. I mean, that young lady, her death was horrible. It was horrible. I mean, again, if you haven't seen the video, she was stabbed 5 or 6 times in the throat. While 5 people, I believe, were within arm's reach and did nothing. Nothing. Even when the suspect left, they did nothing. Nobody rendered aid to her. She died alone on the floor of a metro with people within arm's reach. Like I said, that could have just sat with her, held her hand to let her know she wasn't alone. To try to give her comfort in her last few seconds of life. They couldn't do that. They couldn't be bothered to do that. And then Mr. Kirk is shot over his beliefs. And they weren't far out beliefs. They were common belief for millions of people on this planet. And then there's people celebrating that are happy he's dead, that have no problem with him being dead. This is in Seattle. Kill all Charlie Kirks. That's what we're dealing with. This goes back to what I said before the break. They don't want to talk to us. They don't want to work with us. They don't care what we have to say. They don't. They celebrate when conservatives or religious or people of faith are killed. They celebrate. This is what we get. This is who people expect me as a conservative to try to talk to try to get through to try to make peace with. I got nothing to make peace with them about. They owe me explanations. They owe me an apology, not the other way around. And I'm done with them. I am done trying to, with the kumbaya crap that comes out of D.C. Oh, we need to get together. The country's fractured. That's why it's fractured. Not because of conservatives. Not because of people of faith. It's because of liberals. That's why the country's fractured. That's why there's an issue in this country. It's because of them. And nobody wants to call that out. They want to say the country is in problem. The country is fractured. No, liberals are a cancer. They are a disgusting class of people that celebrate death. They revere death. They put death on a pedestal. And that's who they want us to try to make friends with. I don't think it's possible. And it's not just because of the Charlie Kirk or the crap they're saying. It's just an accumulation of crap we've had to put up with them for years. For years. And this and that young lady are just the straw that broke the camel's back. And I'm sure nobody in the Kirk family wants to hear this, and nobody in the Zarutsky family wants to hear this. They don't want violence in their family's name. And that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is the time to try to make nice is over. It's over. I'm not going out of my way to try to explain anything to liberals anymore. I'm not trying to understand what they have to say. Piss off. Piss off. You got nothing to say anymore that I want to hear at all. And I don't want to hear what's only a small portion. It's all of them. All of them have an issue. Liberals, not Democrats. There's a difference. I have friends who are Democrats that don't subscribe to this. There are Democrats and there are liberals. I'm talking about liberals. Scum of the earth. Just horrible. Look, horrible, horrible human beings. I don't know how anybody could hold their head up high and say, I'm a liberal. I'm a proud liberal. Really? What are you proud of? What are you really proud of? You're not that different than a radicalized Muslim. You love murder. You want your enemies to die. You have no respect for human life. None at all. But you're proud to be a liberal. I don't know what's scarier. Radicalized Muslims or American liberals. I don't know who I should be more afraid of. And I'm not, and I don't mean afraid of because in a man walking this planet I'm afraid of, other than my father. I don't understand it. It's an embarrassing time to be an American. And that might piss some people off. But it is. The conservatives have ceded so much ground to liberals. At this point, we're not getting anything back. They've taken all they can take. And then you got people, well, Trump will fix it. Trump is one man. I don't know how many times I got to tell you that. He's one person. He's not going to fix all our ills. He can't. It's impossible. And it's not fair to expect that from him. There are rhinos that aren't helping. So don't put it all at his feet. It's our responsibility. We, the people, are responsible for this country. We, the people, are the only ones that can fix it. And we need to stop letting these sick, twisted, demented liberals dictate how things run here. We got to stand up. And whatever that means to you, I'm not here to tell you what it means. I'm not saying take to the streets and start hurting people. I'm not calling for violence. I am calling for assertiveness. Be assertive. Stand your ground. Stop giving up just to get along. Because these people don't want to compromise. They want it all. So be assertive. Stand your ground. Stop giving it up. Start taking back. Because I'm telling you, libs are cowards. They're cowards. You stand up to them, they're going to back down like a whipped dog. They're going to back down. One good thing that I've seen happening recently is this. I mean, this makes me smile. Current number of idiots on Facebook or social media in general that have lost their jobs for celebrating Charlie Kirk's assassination. 572. This was Saturday, so I'm sure that number's gone up. I love it. Love it. Cancel culture works both ways, people. It works both ways, and I think you're finding that out now. Keep it up. Keep it up. I mean, most of these people aren't just average Joes. We're talking about doctors and nurses and teachers and people in positions of authority are among those numbers of people fired. And that's great. I mean, like I said, if you don't like the man, just shut up. Don't say a word. You don't have to tell everybody you're an idiot. Just walk on. So if you're dumb enough to put the stuff on social media, that's forever. And I try to tell my kids that, and I hope you tell your kids that too, that what you put on social media is forever. It never goes away. If you're dumb enough to celebrate somebody's murder on social media, you deserve to lose your job because obviously you're not too bright and you probably shouldn't be working at where you're working because I'm sure it requires some semblance of intelligence that you don't got. So at least 572 people have lost their jobs, and that makes me smile. That gives me a little glimmer of hope for society. That people are being held accountable for what they say, and that's awesome. That's how it should, even on both sides, accountability is important. Not just the libs, even though they do more they should be held accountable for than anybody else, but it also applies to conservatives and Republicans. We are accountable for our actions. We are accountable for what we say. You have the freedom of speech, and I'm all for it. You can say whatever you want to say within reason. I mean, you can't go, like I said, you can't go to a movie theater and yell fire. You can't threaten the president. Well, you used to be. You could threaten the president of the U.S. But you can pretty much say whatever you want to say, and that's how it should be. Freedom of speech isn't there for the speech you like and agree with. It's there for the speech you don't like and don't agree with. That's why we have it. But there is accountability. It's a right, but you're going to be held accountable for what you say, and that's how it should be. And that's another thing. I've been seeing online, Facebook and X, people, that are celebrating Mr. Kirk's death. Other people say, well, that name, we should send that to the police. No, it's called freedom of speech, you idiots. You're allowed to say what you want to say. Republicans can't have it both ways either. We can't say what we want to say, but then hold other people to a different standard. Shut up. Just be quiet. Let these people do what they want to do because they're being held accountable. The police don't care. The FBI doesn't care. Do you think they care about Karen, the high school teacher down the road that says, I'm glad Mr. Kirk's dead, ha, ha, ha? Do you think the FBI cares about that? They've got more important shit going on right now than holding people accountable for being assholes. Stop wasting time. The people, like it should be, are taking care of this. These people are losing their jobs, or losing their livelihood. What more do you want to have happen to them? Stop saying that you're going to get in trouble because you say something. We don't live in communist China. We can say what we want to say, as disgusting as it may be. And as much as we may disagree with it and just want to reach out and knock somebody's teeth out of their head, they have a right to say it. And if someone were to report this to the FBI or the police or whoever, and that person was arrested for what they said, I would be on that person's side. I would defend that person however I had to, because you can say what you want to say in this country. Again, freedom of speech goes both ways. Speech you like, speech you don't. You have to suck it up, Buttercup. I don't agree with most of the stuff these people are saying. Don't. But it's their right to say it. It's their right. We have to let them exercise the right. And think of it this way. They're doing us a favor because now we know who the idiots are. There's no guessing if Sam next door is an idiot because Sam posted some stupid shit about his death thinking it's funny. Now we know Sam's an idiot. There's no more doubt in our mind Sam's an idiot. So stay away from Sam. They're doing us a favor. We're not guessing who the jerks are anymore. They're identifying themselves for us. Makes life a lot easier. I wish everything was that easy in life. That the people you need to stay with would identify themselves before you met them or before you interacted with them, that you knew right up front, this guy's an idiot. I'm going to not waste my time. So they're doing us a favor. So I say keep it up. Keep running your mouths. Keep celebrating murder. That way I know who you are. And I can stay the hell away from you. It's a good thing. I mean, I feel sorry for Miss Kirk having to hear some of that stuff or read some, if she's even, and I pray to God she's not on Facebook or X. I hope she's staying off social media because it's a cesspool and nothing good can come of it. There's no need. I mean, again, like these people showing the video over and over and over again, a bunch of ghouls trying to get likes. She doesn't need to see that. Her kids don't need to see that. They need to mourn their loss. They need to process this and deal with it in the way they know how. They don't need to be worrying or reading about the crap people are saying online because that's all it is crap. crap from losers and insignificant, insecure little people who think they're important because mommy and daddy have told them that since they were born and never told them no. So yeah, I hope they're not on social media. I hope this Rutsky's family isn't on social media either. I hope they're doing what they can to avoid any contact with social media because they don't need to be there. There's nothing good on social media. It is not, the way it's being used now is not how it was intended to be used. I can guarantee that. And that's sad because every bit of knowledge is at our fingertips. Every bit of knowledge. Anything you want to learn about, you can find on the internet. What are people doing? Applauding murder, applauding abortion, applauding sex, transitioning children, anti-Semitic stuff. That's what's online. Funny cat videos and stuff that doesn't do anything for anybody. That's what people are looking up. I don't think that's what the internet was intended for. I don't. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the whole time it was just so people could circulate cat memes and crap like that. I don't know. But it's disgusting when it's become lately. Over the last week, it's disgusting. I don't think I've been on it much. I mean, I've been on my pages, but I don't hang out on Facebook much anymore this week. It's disheartening to see the lack of total empathy the left has. Just evil. Like I said before, there doesn't need to be some grand conspiracy. It's evil. There's evil, and we've seen it twice this week. Twice. It doesn't need to be a government thing. It doesn't need to be an Israeli thing. It doesn't need to be a professional sniper. It's evil. These people perpetrated an evil act, and they acted on their own. Why is that not enough for some of you? Why do you have to make it more than it is? Why do you have to act like you have some secret knowledge that nobody else knows that you're just, you're gracing us by telling us about it? Stop. There's evil. We've seen it. We know it's there. Evil's worse than any conspiracy theory you can come up with. Yeah, I've read, like I said, I read before people said Israel's involved. You know what? I think it was Mike Tyson that said that the internet has made some people far too comfortable with insulting others because they know they can't be punched in the mouth. And I completely agree with that. Used to be lunatics like that would start talking, and then people would stay away from them, and they'd be locked up in their house. And that would be the end. We'd never see them again. Now we have this, and all the lunatics can get together and form little groups and spew their bullshit and hatred all across the world. Like I said, it's a cancer, and it needs to be removed. And how do we do that? Assertiveness and stand your ground. What's right is right. It will always be right. It will never be wrong. Stand your ground. Stop being pushed around by murder worshipers. Stop being pushed around by people who don't think a baby in the womb is worth anything. Stop being pushed around by these people. Stand your ground. They yell at you, you yell right back at them. They get in your face, you get right back in their face. I'm not promoting violence. I'm just saying give them back what they give you. And I'm telling you, they will fold. These people are cowards. They are cowards. It's not going to be as tough as you think it is. But doing the right thing is never easy. Anything worth doing and worth doing right is never easy. And if it's something you're doing and it's easy, reevaluate what you're doing. Maybe you lucked out and found the one thing that's worth doing and worth doing right is easy. Maybe you found that one thing. In my 53 years, I've never found the right thing to be easy to do. I'm just disgusted. I don't know. There's no stronger word than that. I'm disgusted by what's going on now. And remember, another way we avoid things like this in the future is if you're raising men, if you're raising boys to be men, teach them to be men. Men conduct themselves in a certain way. Men don't belittle. They don't insult. They don't attack. They take care of their own. They help people who can't help themselves. They defend those that can't defend themselves. They stand for what's right. Even if it means they got to stand alone, you need to teach your boys. You need to teach them that now. Teach them that service to others is the greatest calling in the world. There's no more noble cause than serving others. Nothing. And I don't care how you do it. If you're a trash man, if you're a baker, if you're in the military, if you're a firefighter, whatever, serving your community is the greatest and most noble calling anybody can answer. There's nothing wrong with it. My son has told me time and time again he wants to be in the Navy, he wants to be a Seabees. That makes me proud. My daughter was in the Navy. I am proud. That fills my soul, knowing that no matter how bad of a parent I may have been and mistakes I've made, that something good got to my son, and then he realizes that he wants to be in service. He wants to help his country, his community. He wants to serve the greater good. So no matter what I've done, I have that to hang my hat on. And I'm not saying just because he's going to the military. I'm just saying because he wants to be in service. And what I'm saying is raise your children that way. Sacrifice and service are noble if they're in a worthy cause. And serving your country is a worthy cause. Serving your community is a worthy cause. Raise your kids like that, and we'll get out of this BS quicker than you think. Because there's going to be young people that pull us out. The way we raise this next upcoming generation is going to determine the course of this country. If we raise whiners, victims, nasty, little-minded, narrow-minded people, we're never getting out of this. If you raise kids to be raise them in the way of God, or whatever you choose to call that higher being, if you raise them that way with the idea that service and sacrifice are more important, we're going to do just fine. It'll get hairy for a while, but we're going to be just fine in the long run. And yeah, I brag about my son because I'm proud of him. I brag about my daughter because I'm proud of her. And I hope you brag about your kids. Well, it's about that time. I think I've rambled on long enough and occupied more time than you probably wanted to give me. If you haven't watched the podcast before, I usually end the show with an opinion. Sometimes the opinion has to do with the program. Sometimes it's something arbitrary, like I don't like chocolate ice cream, and let me tell you why. Today's opinion is pretty much dead on with the whole topic of today's podcast. And again, it's just my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to listen to it. You can tune out and never come back again. But I'm going to share it, and your feedback is always as welcome. Got my notes. The assassination of Charlie Kirk on September 10th, 2025 at Utah Valley University was not just a brutal murder. It was a direct assault on the principles conservatives claim to hold dear: free speech, truth, and the right to dissent without fear of violence. Mr. Kirk, 31-year-old firebrand behind Turning Point USA, was gunned down mid-speech by a subhuman, a 22-year-old radicalized by the toxic anti-conservative rhetoric that festers in academia, media, and the online echo chambers. The bullet casings engraved with taunts like, "Hey, fascist, catch," weren't just aimed at Mr. Kirk. They were a middle finger to every conservative who dares to speak out. If this doesn't jolt conservatives out of complacency, nothing will. It's time to stand up for what's right, not with empty gestures, but with unflinching resolve. Let me be clear. The environment that enabled Mr. Kirk's murder did not materialize overnight. It's the product of years of unchecked demonization. President Trump hit the nail on the head. The radical left has spent years branding conservatives as Nazis and extremists, painting a target on our backs. Robinson's own family admitted they shared his hatred for Kirk, viewing him as a purveyor of hate. This isn't isolated. Across X, reports surfaced of teachers, professors, and even nurses openly celebrating Mr. Kirk's death, exposing a chilling acceptance of violence against those who challenge the progressive orthodoxy. Yet, conservatives have responded with prayers and calls for unity, not vengeance. a moral contrast that should embolden us, not pacify us. The stakes are existential. Mr. Kirk's final podcast episode aired hours before his death, and it tackled issues like crime, deportation, and cultural erosion. Issues conservatives are now tearing at America's fabric. But knowing isn't enough. Conservatives have been far too comfortable playing defense, ceding ground to the left that weaponizes institutions like universities and media to silence dissent. Stephen Miller called campuses madrasas of radicalism, and he's not wrong. The same system that radicalized the murderer of Mr. Kirk, in a fairly short amount of time, are churning out more like him. If conservatives don't fight back strategically and relentlessly, Mr. Kirk's death will be a grim preview of what's to come. Standing up means action, not just outrage. First, conservatives must reclaim the cultural battlefield. Universities where Mr. Kirk was killed are ground zero. Push for defunding programs that breed ideological conformity. Support groups like Turning Point USA, which under Erica Kirk's defiant leadership vows to carry on Charlie's mission. Flood campuses with conservative voices, not to provoke, but to assert the right to exist. Second, demand accountability for incitement. The media and online platforms that amplify hate against conservatives must face consequences, whether through lawsuits, advertiser pressure, or legislation targeting doxing and threats. Third, organize politically. Mr. Kirk's books are now Amazon bestsellers, a sign of his enduring influence. Channel that energy into voter turnout, local elections, and supporting candidates who will not cower or yield. Critics will say this risks escalation, but the alternative is surrender. The left's playbook, smear, silence, and now murder, won't stop unless conservatives draw the line. Mr. Kirk's widow urged a return to faith and action, saying, "You have no idea the fire that you have ignited within this wife. That fire must spread. Conservatives, stop apologizing, stop retreating. Stand up for free speech, for truth, for the right to live without fear. Mr. Kirk's murder isn't just a wake-up call, it's a battle cry. We need to answer it, or we stand to lose everything." Again, that's just my opinion. You don't need to agree with it. You can tell me to pound sand and kick rocks. But it's how I feel. So that's that. Again, thanks for tuning in. Every Sunday at this time I'm on, 7 to 8:30. Come hang out. If this is your first time watching, thanks for joining. I hope you come back. If you've come back and this is your second or third time, thanks for coming back. Let me know what I'm doing right, and I'll keep doing it. It's a tremendous honor that anybody listens to what I have to say. Like I said, as long as there's one person listening, I will keep doing this. So yeah, if you're interested in advertising on, America's Pulse Network, you can get with you go to our website and you can fill out the form there. Damon Sherrod, the man behind the throne, is here. He'll get in contact with you and we can work something out. If you're interested in being a podcaster on the network, again, go to the website, fill out the form, and we'll be in contact. Other than that, have a great week. Don't work too hard. Enjoy time with your family when you get it. Relax, because the fight's coming, or it's already here. You're going to need to pick a side. There's no more standing on the sidelines, hemming and hawing. Grab a helmet, get in the game. Thanks. Have a good evening and a better week. And I will see you Wednesday on America's Pulse Network at 8 on the Pulse. And remember, if you live your life based on on a set of principles, and not on a party, you're going to lead a good life and leave something behind your family can be proud of.